Hi everyone! Today we're gonna do what they call a wrap-up. We're new, so I don't know if we're doing it right, but we're gonna do it our way until we decide another way to do it. Basically, we had kind of both of us didn't do as much reading as we usually do.
No.
But my currently reading is kind of getting out of control, so I think I have to kind of like lock down on myself and stop doing that. So, to start, what I read for October was, I think the first one was Jeffrey, I don't know how to say
Eugenides, maybe?
I don't know how to say his name.
No, I don't know either.
The Marriage Plot. There are things I liked about it. I mainly was kind of underwhelmed. Is that the right word?
Underwhelmed, sure,
yeah.
that's appropriate.
The ending, blah. So I read that. I also read The Interestings by Meg Wolitzer, which then led me to read The 10-Year Nap by the same author. I don't love her. I did mention in the book haul video kind of that I don't find her writing challenging enough. But I like some of her themes, so right. I don't think I'll read any more of her. I think I've read as much as for right now that I'm gonna read.
You've had your film.
Yeah, I also read the collection of stories Don't Look Now that we mentioned in our Halloween recommendation list.
Daphne du Maurier.
Yes. Then I read The Well of Lost Plots by Jasper Fforde.
That's right.
I do have it. I don't know why I didn't grab it, but yeah, it's a good time. I'd recommend it. There's something about it that's very like, if you like books, there are little in references to book lovers, and I like that about it, so I'd recommend it. And as I reviewed earlier, I read Not That Kind of Girl. You know my thoughts of my review. So that's all I actually read. I mean, I started a bunch that I'll get to after he talks about what he read, but that's all I actually like completely read cover to cover, so kind of a sad month. Now Matt's gonna talk about what he read.
Where to start? Well, I've been reading a lot of poetry. I'd say some of the best poetry I've read this month is White Buildings by Hart.
You liked it?
I did, I liked it a lot, and I've been curious about his poetry ever since Zoey and I watched James Franco's film, Broken Tower.
Really?
I've been curious, yeah.
That's made me the opposite of curious about his poetry.
I mean, it's not a great film, but it did leave me curious about the writer.
That's the cover that makes me curious about it. That's a great cover.
I love the cover.
It just looks like New York. It's New York, right?
It is, I believe so, yeah. From the film I gather that he lived in New York and wrote most of his poetry there, but I can't say for sure. Mixed feelings though. I mean, there are things I really liked, and then things, like it's a bit dated and dated in ways that could be perceived as, say, problems with racial depiction.
Okay, just call it as it is. Don't.
Okay, there's some issues with racism, and
I'll never read
it's the period, but that's no excuse.
No, that's bullshit.
It is bullshit. So that's why I'm not saying we can't forgive that just because it's the period. I'm not trying to gloss over that.
I'll never read it.
Don't read it. There's better poetry out there. It's just of the poetry I read actually I prefer HD.
HD is
the
amazing.
Other collection I read. HD is incredible, and this is a trilogy of her work.
Super interesting.
Again, something I take issue with, and that is her focus on Christian dogma.
Does she?
Yeah, well, particularly
in
in this collection. I haven't read enough of her other poetry. I can only speak for this collection. The Christian dogma, not for me. I guess I could take what I said about Leonard Cohen's Book of Mercy, another book I read in the past month and reviewed, of course, with Not That Kind of Girl. Except obviously without the problems of masculinity and misogyny. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find that in the works of HD. Mm-hmm. She's a fantastic poet and not given enough credit. And the last collection of poetry I read in the past month, I guess that makes 4 if you count Leonard Cohen, was Erich Kästner's Let's Face It. And I read this because I had just read a novel of his called Going to the Dogs. And I'd sooner recommend Going to the Dogs. He's a much better novelist. I mean, I'm sure there are people who would like this kind of poetry that's very focused on rhyming and is, you know, kind of safe in a lot of other ways, but it's not for me.
Now I'm gonna talk about all the books I started this month.
That's an impressive pile.
But didn't finish. And some of these have been going for a while, but this is the month. This is the month that I finished all of these, maybe. So right now, the one I'm most into is Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. And I've read it before, but I read it in my early 20s, and I remember none of it. Like, actually none of it. Like, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, that's exciting, and I've already read it, but I don't... It's hitting me like a ton of bricks, I can tell you that. It did not hit me like that in my early 20s, which is weird because that's really when you're supposed to read this book.
Yeah, that's when I read it.
And love it, and I'm like 9 years too late, but whatever, I'm loving it, I don't care. Then I am reading Save Me the Waltz by Zelda Fitzgerald, which is going to be paired with the F. Scott Fitzgerald's book that I just acquired today.
Tender is the Name.
Yeah, that's for a haul. That's not for... Because I might not get to that till December because this is a big stack. I love the cover of this. This edition is beautiful. I love it so much. I've started it, but I'm not very far, but I'm going to finish it this month. And Ensneen, A Spy in the House of Love. I'm so close to finishing and I still haven't done it and I don't know why. I keep getting into it and reading it for like 3 days straight and then like kind of getting out of the world and I can't get back in. It's a very specific world and it's, you know, once I've removed from it, I'm having a lot of trouble getting back in. But it's so little, why haven't I finished it yet? The next one is also little and I've read not that much, only 35 pages. But I love it. I love everything about it, and I've been trying to read it like for like 2 months, but I just keep... I'll get in, and then I'll start reading something else, and I'm out. And that is by Grand Central Station, I Sat Down and Wept by Elizabeth Smart. He claims that I already read this once, too. Or did I start it?
No, I didn't say that. I said you owned it.
Yeah.
But you couldn't find the copy you owned, so I gave you another.
Yeah, I don't know what happens to... I have like a book monster that like...
Zoey has a book monster.
It keeps eating books. Like, there's so many... And they're always my favorite.
Yes.
And they just go somewhere. I don't know where they go. I started Tropic of Capricorn by Henry Miller. I'm reading this for my NaNoWriMo character inspiration, not because I want to read it. Misogyny. Ugh. Oh, so we'll see if I actually get through this.
Really?
We'll see. Another one that I've been reading for months and I love, and it's only because it's long. I'm 373 pages in. Is this Penguin Dorothy Parker collection, and it's awesome and wonderful, and I love it, and I love her. And if you haven't read any Dorothy Parker, go out and read it because she's fucking amazing.
Yes, do yourself a favor.
Just go and look at how awesome this copy is. I like want to wear it as an accessory because I love it so much. I don't know if I'll ever finish this. Virgin Suicides. I'm too old. Why am I reading this? I don't know. Another one I've been reading for a really long time, and it's not, I haven't not finished it because it's bad. I haven't finished it because it's actually really making me think, and when I don't have time to contemplate love and loss and all those things, I kind of have to take a break from it, but that is Communion, The Female Search for Love by Bell Hooks. Despite the title, I do not think this should only be read by females. I think everyone should read it. She is an incredible theorist.
Oh yeah.
I have friends who have read it and take issue with some of her thoughts, but
really?
I don't. I think that she's
brilliant.
Yeah, and I think this is great. And I've only not finished it because I really want to like be in it and like paying attention when I read it, and I've been in my busiest work time, so I haven't had a chance to do that. One that I am reading because everyone said, oh, you don't like Lena Dunham, read David Sedaris, blah blah blah, so I did. Nah. And this is a reread, and it's for my NaNoWriMo thing. We Don't Live Here Anymore. And it's actually 2 novellas. It's 3.
3 novellas, yes.
Yeah, We Don't Live Here Anymore, Adultery, and Finding a Girl in America. And I haven't read Finding a Girl in America, so I'm pretty excited about that because I like Andre Dubus?
Dubus? I don't know.
He's wonderful. He's Carver-esque.
Well, Carver took a lot from Andre Dubus.
So if you like Carver, he's like a bit of a fancier Carver. So I really love him, and it's been a pleasure rereading the ones that I've read, and I'm looking forward to getting to the one I haven't read yet. And that's it. That is what I'm reading for November, because I'm on a ban of adding any more to that list, because it's a stack that's higher than my knee. So
it's getting too tall.
It's too tall, and I need to finish it. And I mean, there's actually more. My nightstand actually has a good other 6 or 7 books on it that I've technically already started, but I'm like, I'm not getting to those anytime soon. So this is it. I'm on a ban. No more. I can't
draw
start.
The line.
Drawing lines. And now I've said it on BookTube, so now I have to do it.
It's official. My pile can't compete with Zoe's pile. I've only actually got 5 books. One I've been reading actually for quite a long time, and that's Susan Sontag's The Benefactors.
We've talked about this, but it's one I knew that you would love.
That's right, and I am loving it. It's largely about dreams, and that's a subject that fascinates me. Susan Sontag is also a fascinating writer, so that helps.
She's wonderful.
And on that, I'm going to show another Susan Sontag that I'm reading. This one's her essays and speeches, but I haven't got to the speeches yet.
I think I showed that on the last book haul.
Yes, this was a recent book haul too. I guess I started reading her after reading her first collection of essays, and that's Against Interpretation. Brilliant collection. I had to read more. I'm also rereading T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland and Other Poems.
See, this is you reading that. You're not gonna be able to read any other poetry because it's too good.
It is too good.
That's like the end of you reading poetry for a while.
It'll probably help me balance things out, because I have been reading a lot of poetry lately.
It's so good that.
Oh yes. It's a pinnacle that few poems reach or have reached. It's just it's up there.
And like Howl reaches
Howl,
it.
yes.
There's like obviously a few more, but
there's only a handful of others. These are brilliant poems, and little competes, even in HD, who I love. And I'm reading more of hers. I'm reading her selected poems now, because she's great, and because she was in the group that included T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound, but she's the forgotten poet among them.
Because she's a woman.
Because he's a woman. So I'm going to read more HD and, put T.S. Eliot on the back burner. And the last collection of poetry I'm reading is Paul Auster. But I must say, there's a reason he's not known for his poetry. He's known for his novels. They're okay.
I can't see him being a poet.
They're just okay. They're not.
He's so hard-boiled
and. He is hard-boiled. I wish his poems were more like the poetry of Roberto Bolaño. The Romantic Dogs is one I actually just finished, and it's a little closer to what I expected from Paul Auster's poetry, particularly the poems that are about detectives. That has.
Yeah, that would
Paul
make a little written all over it.
Exactly. It's true. But it's not terrible. It's just I'd sooner recommend his novels. Mm-hmm. It's just
his novels are amazing.
He's a great novelist.
If you haven't read the New York Trilogy, just stop everything.
Read the New York Trilogy.
Go fucking read it, because it's so good.
That's the Paul Auster I recommend.
Even someone who doesn't like masculine stories, it's one of my favorite collections.
Male existential crisis.
It's so good, it doesn't matter that it's a man. It's so good.
That's right, it transcends that.
It does, it really does.
It does. And that's it. That's all I'm currently reading.
So I think the next thing we're going to do is a double team review.
That's right, we're going to choose a book. Have we picked it?
We picked it.
Okay. No spoilers.
No. I have mentioned the author, though.
Oh. So there's your hint.
And that's it. Thanks for watching.
Stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye.